Whenever we have conversations with or amongst the coaching community, especially the agile coaching community, the issues that we majorly hear are around leadership participation within the transformation, or also the business participation within the transformation. And another challenge is how much time the teams are able to allocate to the transformation exercise itself. So, from that point of view, in this session, I wanted to discuss about that one thing, if you really are able to do it quite well, can help you most possibly address these three problems that we normally have. And what that is, that essentially is the coaching agreement. So, in this session, we will talk everything about coaching agreement, why a coaching agreement is required, what it actually takes, or what it includes, it should include within the coaching agreement, and also how to arrive at defining a coaching agreement. There is a lot of background work that takes place before we reach the coaching agreement or definition of coaching agreement itself. So, and when do you do that? So, all the aspects that are involved within creating a coaching agreement and how the coaching agreement looks like, that's what we will cover in this particular video. And before we do that, let's hear some music. So, what actually is coaching agreement? So, coaching agreement is a formal document that is created or co created between various key stakeholders that participate within the transformation exercise. So, that means a coaching agreement should involve, during the creation process, the leadership of the team that is going to undertake the transformation journey, then the business, various elements of business that is required to participate in the transformation journey, and of course the team itself that is going to be involved within the transformation journey. So all the three critical elements or segments of people that would be involved or that would participate in the transformation exercise should be part of creating the coaching agreement. And we as coaches need to facilitate that creation of coaching agreement itself, right? That is the exercise we need to undertake. Now the question comes, why do we need a coaching agreement? And when we did talk about it briefly in the first introductory part, one of the reasons why we need a coaching agreement is for us to be able to identify all the stakeholders that need to be part of the transformation exercise. So whether the people from business, who would be the business sponsor, right, and who would be the product owner in the that would participate in the team events, who would be the product management team that the product owner will need to go and interface with, right? That is definitely, and the team itself, and any dependencies that externally the team has for them to be successful in the transformation journey. So, all the critical stakeholders that are required for the transformation to be successfully undertaken need to be identified. So, that is one reason why we need a coaching agreement, because the moment you start off on this exercise, you would look to identify these critical stakeholders. Number two, coaching agreement is also required to bring in a collective understanding or a shared understanding of why we are transforming, why we need to transform, and what we want to accomplish through the transformation exercise itself. So that is another reason. That means create an understanding of the objectives that we want to accomplish, create an understanding of the why of the transformation itself, right? And then coaching agreement also helps us to co-create that objective, co-create the understanding of the current state, which means that there would be a shared ownership that is created by creating a coaching agreement. So coaching agreement also helps us to create the sense of shared ownership between various critical stakeholders for the transformation. Then it also helps us to set the right expectations from each member of the team, from the leadership community and also the business community, on what involvement they would have, what participation they would have, what efforts they need to put in for the transformation to be successful. And it also helps us to create the success measurement criteria. How do you measure success? What do you think defines success for you as a group that is undergoing the transformation? So all these elements define the need for a coaching agreement. So if you are starting off your transformation journey without creating a coaching agreement, you don't know where you are going, and you don't know whatever you accomplish post the transformation, is that what you were looking for as a team, and even as a coach, is that what you were taking the team, or for a journey on. So that is absolutely critical, and if you're not doing that, that means you are setting up not just yourself, even the team for a failure, right? So that is the critical need for a coaching agreement. Now, next up is about how do we create a coaching agreement, right? Now you have seen that there is a good sense of pre-work involved before you come to the state of documenting whatever is required within the coaching agreement. That means the how is much more broader than the documentation itself. So how do we actually do that? So firstly, we need to undertake a kind of discovery workshops with each community to understand what they are looking for from the transformation exercise. What it does, it helps us to understand their expectations. Number one, it also helps us to create a sense of awareness about what they are looking for within themselves, which they most of the times may not have clarity on. And also it helps us to highlight that if they are expecting the team to miraculously change, then what they would contribute for that change to happen, right? So what would they let go, or what would they facilitate, what would they need to collaborate on with the team for team to essentially complete the journey and accomplish what they are expecting them to do. So that is one thing. So that comes from undertaking the discovery workshops with each of the community. And once you understand from each of the communities, the business community, the management or the leadership community, and also the team itself, then you will get a view of the disparity, or you would say the gaps in what they are looking at in terms of accomplishing the transformation. Somebody may be thinking, okay, I'm looking for uh, you know my budget to be coming down by 20%, because if you are going agile, what business expects is doing more with less, right? But when you talk about it to the technology leadership team, they would probably expect that the delivery times, or the time to market, or the quality with which the team is delivering is improving drastically when you are looking to set out an agile transformation journey. But when you go to the team itself, many times what you hear from them is about the constraints they have in terms of organizational practices, or the involvement of business in the delivery journey, or their understanding of the vision of the organization, the strategic objectives of the organization, where they are contributing in the organization. So those could be the elements that the team wants, right? So that you need to understand as a coach, and then try to bring them all into one collective agreement, or shared understanding. Okay, as a business you want this, but as a technology leadership team they are looking for this, and the team actually is looking for this. How do they integrate? Are these complementing objectives that we are looking at, or there are conflicts within what we are trying to accomplish? So if that is not solved, again then you are creating a sense of conflict right from the beginning. So doing this, or undertaking this discovery workshops, and validating what you are collecting from the different groups of people, and how they align together when you are looking at it from a systemic perspective, that is something which is the how part. If you are not really doing this with due diligence, then again you are possibly heading for yourself towards a failure as a coach, but also not being able to fulfill what the different people are looking for from the transformation itself. So that is the how part. And again, if you are getting value from this session, this is a transformation channel, so all we discuss here are aspects around a transformation itself. And today we are talking about creating a coaching agreement within agile transformation, when you are kicking off, or when you are about to get connected to a new team for transformation exercise. Now the next part is what goes into a coaching agreement. What all goes into a coaching agreement? The first thing is about the details of various stakeholders that are required to be participating in the transformation itself. So one of the elements is about the team name. It's a, right, and it's a great exercise that we have seen to start off collaborating with the team. How do they want to define themselves, right? What name they want to associate themselves with? And a lot of creative ideas come through when you are facilitating such a conversation with the team. And it also helps us develop a good rapport with the team when you are doing this exercise of defining a team name itself, right? So you capture the team name, then the names of business sponsors, the product owner that would be part of the exercise, the team leader. When we say leader, the manager or the senior manager that is to be part of the transformation, and also the single point of contact whom you need to communicate from time to time on various expectations from different sets of groups, right? So that all that needs to be captured in the team details of the coaching agreement canvas. The next thing that goes into it is the transformation context. So when you say transformation context, it is about why we are transforming, right? So what are the needs that each of the groups are looking to transform for. And again, this is where the exercise that we would have done earlier comes into play. How much of a shared understanding have you could bring in to the different groups of communities that are going to be part or going to be interested, invested in the transformation. So you capture the transformation context, why we are transforming, what is driving, what is the motivator for this transformation to be undertaken from the perspective of different people that are involved or invested, interested in the transformation exercise. The next element is about capturing the current state, which means you are looking at what is the operating domain of the team, what is the current culture within the team, how much is the involvement of a business or the management or the leadership with the team, what is the understanding of the team around their contribution at an organization level, at a tribe level or a business unit level, which essentially means, do they really understand value streams, do they know which business process they contribute to and how it drives value for the product or the portfolio or the organization. So that understanding needs to be brought in from a current state perspective. Also, you look to capture the maturity of the team around the agile practices, how much they understand the framework that they want to adopt or what framework would suit them, right? How much of technical practices they are aware of, the craftsmanship practices that we talk about, whether it is prayer programming or it is peer reviews coming from extreme programming framework. So how much they know about it or how much they practice today, that understanding needs to be developed. How much of continuous integration, continuous delivery tools they are using today, how are their pipelines structured, right? So how efficient they are as a team, and those elements are important to be captured because that creates a baseline on which you would then help the team to take a leap on, right? So that baseline needs to be captured very clearly, and from there the next step would be to capture their current assumptions and constraints. What are the constraints within which the team is operating today, right? And how they are constraining them to accomplish what they want or to for them to be the best team they can be, and what assumptions they are carrying within themselves today for approaching something or being able to innovate. Are they making any assumptions that okay, we will not get leadership support or uh, the organization is this way? So there could be many things that are influencing them to assume certain things which stop them, which again create limitations for them to be the best they can be. So those things will need to be identified. Then you also try and define the objectives and key results that the team is looking for overall. When I say the team, it is everybody in the team. So the team itself, the development team itself, which is cross functional. Then you're talking about the product owner, the scrum master, the leaders within the team, the business sponsor, collectively as a group, what they are looking to accomplish in terms of the objectives, and what key results will tell us that they are in the right path to accomplish those end objectives that they have defined together or co-created. And then what is that the team likes to be measured themselves on? Many times what the team wants to be measured would facilitate them to consistently be on that journey to accomplish those objectives. So essentially, they may not be directly related, but they contribute, they facilitate, they motivate the team to be consistently on that journey. For example, how happy the team is, right? And or how collaborative the team is, how autonomous the team is. So, what is that the team wants to be measured on? Of course, velocity is one thing the business likes the team to be measured on, or the leadership likes the team to be measured on. But what does the team want to be measured on? That is another thing which needs to be captured. The next thing is about the feedback frequency. This is again very important element, and most of the people do miss this particular part. This is about capturing how frequently we as coaches will, and the team themselves will, need to communicate how we are progressing in the transformation journey to various critical stakeholders. What is the, do they look for a formal governance to be set up, or are they expecting, different types of communications to go through, or they are okay to just look at a collaborative space? So it's all about again understanding the expectations from the critical stakeholders on communicating the progress of the team themselves. So that is called feedback frequency, which means what is the duration at which the different people are expecting communication, and what is the modes of communication they want to look at. So these two elements need to be captured in the coaching agreement. The next one is about how much time, how much effort you as a coach would need to spend. That means your commitment to the team as a coach, your availability to the team as a coach. What is that going to be? So it may be zero point 0.5 FTE worth of effort, or 50% of your time, or 75% of your time, or 100% of your time, for a duration of 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, based on what is their current state and what is the target objectives they want to accomplish. Right? That defines, and their willingness, of course, to be, and how, what is their commitment also, right? So based on that, you try and identify what is the effort that is required from you as a coach, that you need to be putting into the transformation journey. So that is again an important element to be captured. And how much would it cost the team from that perspective? Especially this is important if you are a consultant, if you are from a service organization, you are providing coaching as a service to the team. And even in the organization, in the same organization as well, if you are supporting some team which is beyond the purview of the transformation program, that means your effort has not been budgeted for that particular team. That means then you have to identify what cost is involved. Otherwise it's more capacity. Cost doesn't matter if your cost is already being furnished by the transformation itself. That's another aspect to look at, how coaches are budgeted in the transformation exercise. Probably that we will cover in a separate exercise. So costing where it is essential. Otherwise definitely the coaching commitment, the effort, the capacity that you would allocate to the team, right? That is something you would look to capture in the coaching agreement. Next, the commitment of the business community. That means you are talking about business sponsor or the product manager, how much time they will need to spend with the transformation team, the team that is transforming, right? And the availability of product owner. We coaches always expect the product owner to be full time available, but that may not be always possible in many organizations to start off, because no organization will start getting a product owner even before the exercise starts. So which means the person, whoever is nominated as a product owner, would more or less have an alternate set of responsibilities to be taken care of. So they would initially start with, let's say, 50% of time. And as they understand and as they mature as product owners into the role, and they understand their level of involvement and what all they need to be part of, what all they need to take care of, in terms of creating a backlog, refining the backlog with the teams, creating user stories, all that. So when they understand all that, and then they are able to exhibit those requirements to the product management community and also to the business management community. That is when they will move from part-time product owner to being a full-time product owner. It may not always be possible to have a product owner or product management community full-time allocated to a transformation exercise. So you have to identify that, and all that availability, navigate through the business management teams, understand what their understanding is today, and then try to work with them closely to be able to create that collaborative space for them to experiment or experience the transformation journey, and then make a logical you know uh, or gradual progress of their effort and involvement in the transformation. So that is something we need to take a commitment on. Then the leadership commitment or the management commitment, how much they need to be part of uh, the transformation exercise. What is their level of involvement that we see as coaches, and that needs to be brought in as well. If you are able to highlight that, and if you are able to create that awareness and sense of expectation, then it makes it much easier going forward, because right at the front you are able to do that. So that is the another aspect for us to look at in terms of commitment. Last but not the least, the commitment of the team itself, how much they are able to allocate for the transformation. Many times again we see that okay, the team says yes, we are ready to transform, but as we ask them to go through the various events that are involved in the transformation, various trainings that are required to be uh, provided to them, so they skill up to be able to put in all the practices that the frameworks demand, then they start getting overwhelmed. And even the management or even the business, if you don't give that understanding in the in the first few discussions that this is what we expect based on the current state of the team and what you want to accomplish, it becomes quite difficult, because the team is always focused on, or the business is, or even the tech leadership is always focused on their delivery aspects rather than what it takes for them to transform and be more consistent or more efficient in the post transformation exercise. So that is something which we need to again talk to everybody involved, make them understand that the team needs to spend 10, 20, 30% of their time on the transformation aspects, right? On understanding agile practices, getting themselves skilled up, being able to apply and go through that experience of the various practices, right? So that is something which has to be set up right at the beginning, and that also would be something which we should capture within the coaching agreement itself. Now, before we move ahead, I think we should look at a template for coaching agreement, how it looks like, right? So let me try and share my screen and see how a coaching agreement possibly would look like. Here we go. So this is how a coaching agreement canvas would look like, right? So which essentially means a coaching agreement canvas would have or would capture the team details. It also would capture the transformation context that we discussed, the current state, the assumptions and the constraints. Then you are also looking at capturing the objectives and the key results through the OKR framework. If you are using the GROW model, it's absolutely fine. You capture the goals and objectives there, right? And then you are talking about the KPIs, what the team wants to measure themselves on, the feedback frequency, which means the frequency of communication, and the methods of communication. Then you are looking at the coaching commitment, effort, whether it is 50%, 75%, or 100%, and start date, end date, when you are going to start, when you're going to end, and the cost involved. And you are also talking about the commitment of the sponsor and the business community here, and then the leadership community from the technology perspective. And last but not the least, as I said, it's about the team commitment. So this is how a coaching agreement canvas would look like. Okay, so again, if you are getting value out of this session and you like to continue to look at more videos in this channel, and you're looking to be part of this channel community, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like the video. So coming back, the next question we would have is, when do we do this exercise, or when this coaching agreement needs to be filled in? And also, is it once you fill in, it's kind of done and dusted? So let's think about that. So when do you do this? So first thing is, you do this at the beginning of an engagement, right? When you are about to start your interactions or transformation exercise with the team. So that is the first time you are going to start this exercise of creating a coaching agreement. Now, once you have created that, is that the end of it? No, this is going to be a living document which you will reference at every, you know, based on the frequency that you have created for the feedback. You will continue to refer this document. Are we still on track? Are we still pursuing the same objectives? Is there any change that we need to make? Is everything that is listed in terms of assumptions, in terms of constraints, in terms of expectations, is still relevant when you are looking at it? So this is going to be a living document right from the beginning of the transformation to the end of the transformation. So that is very much the point we need to keep in mind. Coaching agreement is going to be a living document right from the time it is created, that is at the beginning of the transformation exercise, and it will only see the end when your transformation journey is complete. That is finally when you are doing the review, the final transformation review with the all stakeholders involved. And if they validate that yes, we have accomplished what we have captured in the coaching agreement, and sign off saying yes, today we are done with the transformation exercise, and that is when you actually close the coaching agreement. Otherwise, till that point in time, it is going to be a living document. And that brings us to the end of the A to Z of coaching agreement. Again, if you are looking to connect with me on any of the social media channels, you can connect with me on LinkedIn, search for Nivarthi Jairam. Again, same on YouTube channel. Again, it's my channel name also is Nivarthi Jairam. So please, you can look into the channel and subscribe so that you keep yourself updated. And you can also connect with me on Instagram and Facebook for various communications. If you have any questions around this topic, then please go ahead and drop them in the comments below. I would be happy to answer them. And if you are interested that we should pursue any other topic that you are you're you know you're pressingly having a question on, or you're looking for more information on a certain topic, feel free to drop in the comments below, and we will try and address that in the future sessions. Thank you all for watching, and hope you got value out of this particular session. Thank you.